In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, far beyond the paved roads and city lights, lies a hidden world. A world powered not by laws or order, but by greed, survival, and silence. It begins with gold, one of the most desired metals on Earth. Men from all over Brazil travel deep into the jungle, lured by stories of quick fortune. They leave behind families, jobs, and cities, chasing a dream that rarely turns into reality. But what many people don't know is that where these men go, women follow. Not wives or girlfriends, but women who become part of another trade that grows alongside gold: sex work. This is the side of the gold rush almost nobody talks about. Away from the headlines about deforestation and illegal mining, another silent story unfolds, one that reveals the daily struggles of women who live in these hidden settlements. When outsiders hear "gold mine," they imagine miners with shovels, mud-stained faces, and dreams of striking it rich. But inside the camps, behind the bars and wooden huts, there's another picture: women sitting in dimly lit rooms, music playing from cracked speakers, and men lining up after days of exhausting labor. The lives of these women are rarely seen or heard. They live without rights, without protections, and often without hope. Yet their role is deeply tied to the survival of the mining camps themselves. For many sex workers, entering the mines isn't a choice made out of desire, but desperation. Poverty, lack of education, and broken promises push them into the depths of the jungle. Some arrive thinking they'll work as cooks or cleaners, only to find out the truth after it's too late. Others go willingly, believing they can earn enough money to escape poverty, only to discover that life in the mines is far harsher than they ever imagined. This is not a story of glamour, nor is it one of easy wealth. It is a story of survival in the harshest conditions, where women endure violence, loneliness, and exploitation in a place cut off from the world. As the Amazon's illegal gold mines grow, so too does this hidden society of women whose lives remain invisible to most of the world. To understand the true cost of gold, we must look beyond the glittering surface and listen to the voices buried in silence, the voices of sex workers who live and suffer in the shadows of Brazil's illegal mines. This is their story. Life in Brazil's illegal gold mines is unlike anything most people can imagine. These are not organized, modern facilities with safety rules or government oversight. They are lawless settlements, often built in the middle of the rainforest, surrounded by mud, rivers, and dense jungle. The camps appear suddenly, as hundreds or even thousands of men arrive to dig for gold, and just as quickly, they can disappear, leaving behind destruction and scars on the land. But while miners come seeking fortune, everyday life inside the camps is far from golden. Living conditions are brutal. Wooden shacks and tents serve as homes. Electricity, when available, comes from noisy generators. Clean water is scarce, and food is expensive, often costing double or triple the price compared to cities. Everything must be brought in by boat or plane, and in such isolation, even basic goods are luxuries. For the men, days are spent digging, washing dirt in search of gold, and battling exhaustion under the scorching sun. Nights, however, belong to the bars and brothels. In these dimly lit wooden structures, sex workers become the center of life. Music plays loudly, alcohol flows freely, and for a brief moment, miners try to escape the reality of endless labor. For the women, however, these nights are not about fun, they are about survival. Sex workers in the mines often live in small, cramped rooms attached to bars or brothels. Their clients are the miners who've spent weeks in the mud, desperate for comfort. On good nights, a woman may earn enough to cover her food and send a little money home. On bad nights, she may be forced to work for nothing or face violence. The power dynamic is clear: miners hold the money, and the women depend on them to survive. Some women manage to negotiate, building steady relationships with certain miners for safety. Others are left vulnerable to abuse, harassment, and exploitation. Life is also extremely expensive inside the mines. Food, drinks, and rent for tiny rooms cost so much that many women end up trapped in a cycle of debt. Even if they earn money at night, much of it goes back to the bar owners or the people controlling the settlement. This makes escaping nearly impossible. And yet, despite the hardships, many women stay. For some, returning home means admitting failure or facing shame from families. For others, the danger of the mines is still better than the poverty they left behind. Inside the camps, women find themselves walking a thin line every single day, balancing between survival, danger, and the hope that one day, the jungle will release them. While the surface of life in the mines may look like a mix of work, drinking, and survival, the reality for sex workers is far darker. Violence is a constant threat. With thousands of men, alcohol, weapons, and no formal law enforcement, disputes are settled with fists, or worse, with guns. Women are often caught in the middle. Arguments over money can quickly turn violent. A miner who feels cheated may lash out, and in a place with no police, there is little recourse. Women who defend themselves risk further retaliation. Many endure abuse in silence, fearing that speaking out could make their lives even more dangerous. Health risks are another major burden. In isolated camps, access to healthcare is non-existent. Sexually transmitted diseases spread rapidly. Pregnancies are common, and without medical support, many women face life-threatening situations. Contraceptives are expensive and not always available. Basic medicines like antibiotics can cost a fortune. Beyond physical health, there is the crushing weight of loneliness and isolation. Women live far away from their families, often hiding the truth about their work. Many send money home, claiming they found jobs as cooks, waitresses, or domestic workers. The stigma surrounding sex work keeps them silent, trapped in a life they cannot share openly. The jungle itself adds to the sense of imprisonment. These camps are deep inside the Amazon, with thick forests and rivers serving as natural barriers. Leaving requires money, connections, and sometimes even the permission of camp leaders. For women without savings, escape is nearly impossible. Some turn to drugs and alcohol as a way to numb the pain. Others rely on small circles of trust with fellow women, sharing food, advice, and comfort. Yet even in these bonds, there is fragility, because everyone is struggling to survive. Perhaps the hardest part of this reality is the lack of recognition. The world sees headlines about illegal mining, deforestation, and clashes between miners and police, but the women are invisible. Their suffering remains hidden, buried beneath the noise of political debates and economic interests. To truly understand the human cost of Brazil's illegal gold rush, we must recognize that the story is not only about the destruction of forests, but also about the destruction of lives. And among those lives, sex workers carry some of the heaviest burdens, living in fear, with little hope of escape, in one of the most lawless corners of the planet. Behind every woman in the mines is a personal story, stories that reveal both unimaginable hardship and remarkable resilience. Take Maria, for example. A mother of two, she left her children in the care of her sister in a small Brazilian town. She came to the mines with promises of work as a cook. When she arrived, she discovered the truth. Faced with no money and no way back, she became a sex worker. Every week, she sends part of her earnings home, telling her children she works in a restaurant. Her dream is to save enough to bring them a better life, even though the cost to her own dignity is enormous. Then there is Anna. Just 20 years old, she grew up in poverty and believed the stories of quick riches. But the mines were not what she imagined. Instead of gold, she found herself trapped in exploitation, working long nights just to survive. Despite her youth, she quickly learned to protect herself, forming friendships with older women who taught her how to avoid dangerous situations. And then there's Rosa, a veteran of the mines. Having spent over a decade in different camps, she has become a mother figure to many younger women. She teaches them how to negotiate prices, how to recognize violent men, and even how to hide money to prevent bar owners from taking everything. Rosa herself has little hope of leaving, but she finds meaning in helping others. These stories highlight the mix of suffering and strength that defines the lives of sex workers in the mines. On one hand, they are victims of poverty, exploitation, and violence. On the other, they are survivors, resilient women who endure conditions few could bear. What stands out is the solidarity among women. Despite the competition, many look out for each other. They share meals, protect one another from violent clients, and create small communities of trust. In a place with no law, this solidarity becomes their only shield. Their stories remind us that behind the statistics and headlines are real human beings. Women with dreams, families, and dignity, living in a world that constantly tries to strip all of that away. The hidden lives of sex workers in Brazil's illegal gold mines are a powerful reminder of the human cost behind the global demand for gold. While the media often focuses on the environmental destruction of the Amazon or the violent clashes between miners and authorities, the lives of these women remain invisible. Their existence reveals a complex cycle: poverty drives women to the mines exploit them, and the world ignores them. Each gram of illegal gold that leaves the rainforest carries not just the cost of deforestation, but also the silent suffering of women who paid with their bodies and dignity. And yet, within this darkness, there is resilience. The women who endure these conditions are not merely victims, they are survivors. They navigate violence, isolation, and exploitation with strength that often goes unrecognized. Their ability to endure speaks to the human will to survive, even in the harshest environments. But survival should not be the only option. Their stories raise critical questions: who protects them? Who listens to their voices? And how long will their lives remain hidden from the world? As viewers, as storytellers, and as human beings, we must recognize that the story of gold is not just about wealth or nature, it is about people. Real people, whose struggles are as valuable as the metal that men dig for. So the next time you hear about Brazil's illegal gold mines, remember this: the shine of gold often hides a darker truth. A truth of women who live in silence, whose stories deserve to be told, and whose dignity deserves to be protected. Because gold may glitter, but it is the hidden lives in the shadows that reveal its true cost.